everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the new SH Figuarts Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello figure from Tamashii Nations and Bandai. Now this figure comes packaged in a window box style of packaging. It's a square shape and the figure's clearly displayed. Up at the top you've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo. The box is made to look kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sewer layer, and then you've got an image of the figure down below along with the name. On one side again you just have more artwork showing the wall for the sewer, and then on the other side we have an image of Donatello, looks like from the old 80s cartoon, and then on the back of the packaging we have a look at the figure in various poses showing off the various accessories. Okay, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with the other contents. Now this figure did see a limited release at San Diego Comic-Con from Tamashii Nations and Bluefin, their distributor here in the United States. The figure hasn't actually officially been fully released though, so you can still pre-order it at places like Big Bad Toy Store. But the reason why I have it is I picked one up from San Diego Comic-Con. Now the figure comes with a number of different accessories, including this little instruction sheet that shows you how to work everything. It's written in a language that I can't really read, but you do get some pictures. We get 4 different pairs of hands with this figure. So we get a pair of closed-fisted hands, which are attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging. Then you get a pair of open hands that just have the circle in it, and this is for holding his bow staff. And then you get a pair of just normal grip hands, and he's got the 3 fingers. And then you get a pair of open hands, again with the 3 fingers. Switching out the hands on the figure is very easy. You just pull the hand off. You've got the little peg on the actual arm and the hole on the hand, and then you just push in the hand you want to replace it with. And that little ball joint can move a little bit, but overall it's pretty easy and it'll snap in nice and tight. The figure also comes with his signature weapon, the bow staff, and this is done with just a brown plastic. Not a whole lot in the way of paint detail, but you do have some sculpting detail. You can see the little lines in it for like the handles and stuff, and it looks like maybe some scratches and stuff on it as well to give it that kind of wood look to it. And it's a fairly sturdy plastic. It's not really that bendable. A little bit of flexibility, but it shouldn't come out of the package warped or anything. Getting him to hold the bow staff, you can use the hand with just a little circle in it and just slide it in and just slide it down like that. That's the best hand to use, but you can also, if you want, just use the regular grip hand and he'll hold it pretty tight in there. Again, you just kind of slide it in there and he'll hold it nice and tight. I've also given you this piece that you can put on the back of the turtle so you can hold the bow staff. So you can have the figure displayed without that or with the little holder, and what you do is you just kind of pull this piece out. This back piece of his belt will come out, and you kind of have to have fingernails to kind of pry it out, and you can see it just attaches with little pegs, and then you just plug in this extra piece with the holder and it'll snap in. Now I do want to note that the brown on the holder is a little bit lighter color than the rest of the belt, so it doesn't match 100%, but then once you have that on there, then you can slide the bow staff in there and he can hold it on his back. The figure comes with 2 different head sculpts, so you get this more serious looking head sculpt, and you know, I think it looks pretty good. Looks like it did in the cartoon and stuff. And he's got his purple bandana, and this back piece of the bandana actually comes off, so when you switch out the heads you want to take that off first, and then you just pop off the head. It's attached with a little ball joint, and then you just pop on the alternate head, and then the alternate head is more of a kind of has a smile, happy face type deal. And then you don't have to, but you can then put this bandana piece back on, and it plugs in with a little square hole, so it's not like the bandana turns, so you can have it, I think you can have it facing no, actually you can only put it in one way, so you can have it in like that, but it doesn't actually turn or anything once it's in there. And then, you know, like I said, he's got that kind of happy face, about to eat some pizza or something. I like the more serious look, I think, a little better, but this is probably more in keeping with like the old cartoon and everything. Finally, we get this piece of pizza, and what turtle doesn't like pizza? You've got the darker color on the bottom for the crust, and then a lighter yellow color with the little red circles for cheese and pepperoni on the top, and it's curved, so the front of the pizza is kind of curved down, so it'll fit on his hand. Very similar to like what we saw with the piece of pizza that comes with the Marvel Legends Spider-Man figure, you know, shaped very much that same way. This one's a little bit bigger, but then if you have the open hand, then you can just kind of set the piece of pizza there in his hand. So it looks like he's about to chow down. Now before we look at the actual figure, just a couple other things to note. This little D belt buckle you can actually remove. I'm not really sure what the point of removing it is, but you can actually pry it off. It's made to be removed, but you got then these holes on his front if you take it off. So again, I don't really know what the real point of taking it off is, but it's actually listed as something you can do on the instruction sheet. And then also just of note, these little wristbands, purple wristbands, you can actually, they're separate pieces, and so you can actually remove those as well if you pop the hand off. So I don't know if you really want to, but just want to note that you could actually remove it. The ones on his elbows are feels like are actually glued on there, or at least on there solid enough that you really couldn't get it off easily. So the figure itself has some very good weight to it. It actually incorporates die-cast metal pieces, so it's a nice heavy figure. Basic paint applications, you have that kind of darker green color, and then you have the mustard yellow for the front of his shell, and then that kind of army green on the back for the back part of his shell. And then the brown belt, as I pointed out before, you've got the metallic silver on the buckle with the D, and then he's got the purple, knee pads, elbow pads, and wrist and bandana. So very basic paint applications, very clean, but again, I like the weight of this figure because it incorporates that die-cast metal. So this figure stands just a little bit over 5.5 inches tall, not quite 5 3/4 inches. And here's a comparison with the Playmates Classics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello figure. Here's a comparison with the Hasbro Marvel Legends Pizza Eating Spider-Man. And then finally, here's a comparison with a couple other SH figure arts, the Stormtrooper and Captain America from Civil War. So articulation on this figure is pretty good. You can turn the head to the left and to the right, and he's got good down movement. The whole neck moves, and he can look back a little bit. It's limited because of the shell on his back. And then you can pivot the head a little bit to the left and the right as well. Arms are attached with ball hinge joints, and you have this inner butterfly type joint, so he can get his arm out good, and he's got good rotation. And then you've got forward and back movement with the arm as well there at the shoulder. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got essentially a double hinged elbow, so pretty good bending there. Even with a pad in there, he still gets pretty good bending. He's got rotation at the wrist. The hands are attached with those ball joints, so he's got some up and down movement there with the hands. Now he does have, looks like he has a midsection joint, but this piece on the front, which is actually a separate piece on the figure, it's done with a rubber type material, and then he's got the shell that's attached on the back that kind of nullifies that, so he really doesn't have any crunching there. He does have a waist swivel. It feels like, again, limited somewhat by the front shell and the back shell pieces, but he does have a waist swivel. And then the legs are attached with ball type joints, so he can do the splits about that much, and he can do his leg kind of out and forward like that, and he can do the leg back about that much. And then you've got rotation up high there. You have various rotation joints up there near the waist where the leg attaches, so you've got rotation. And then he's got a double hinge type knee, so he's got good bending there at the knee. Again, even with the knee pads, it doesn't limit that much of the bending there. And then for the feet, he's got up and down movement. The feet are basically attached with ball joints, and you've got this little inner piece there on his foot that kind of moves, so it doesn't limit the movement. So he's got good up and down movement, and he's got rotation there. He doesn't have a whole lot of actual pivot, again, where it's attached with the ball joint, so you can pivot a little bit, but not a whole lot. And then he does have toe articulation as well, so you've got up and down movement with the toes, and no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I like this figure. It's a nice solid figure, has a good weight to it with the die-cast metal, and the joints are nice and tight. Overall articulation is pretty good on it, and if you're a fan of the 80s cartoon, I think this is one you'll want to look at adding to your collection. Now this this figure, as I said, saw a limited release along with the Leonardo figure, the Figuarts Leonardo figure at San Diego Comic-Con, but these aren't really supposed to be officially released until later this year. I think either next month or October. You can pre-order them now at Big Bad Toy Store. They are a little bit on the pricey side. They cost about $60. But again, I think you're getting pretty good quality figure here with the die-cast metal and everything, and I like the overall look of it. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook and or Twitter pages. I'll have links to those in the video description below. And until next time, I'll catch you later.